Yes, we did a countdown, and here we are. Welcome to this evening's show of Talking Void, produced by the Voidcast. And welcome to my guest, Djinn. Tell me, Djinn, how are you this evening?
I am very fine, thank you, Jasper. How are you? You're doing yourself?
How am I doing myself? Well, better not answer that question. Yeah. Anyway, but I'm doing fine, that's for sure. There we go. Okay, so it's like it's the king's birthday today, and the weather was great, and we went outside, and it was a very nice day.
It was a very nice day. I have no idea if it's actually the king's birthday or just King's Day.
Well, no, I think it's his birthday. Because otherwise it would have been on 30th of April still. Well, anyway, he turned 54, so there you have it.
That's nice.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome everybody to the show. I see a lot of exclamation marks. Hello, Esner. Hello, Ashley. Wow, it was my daughter's birthday yesterday. Oh, congratulations, Ashley. So cool. Seen a couple of other people there as well. We have a packed show for you. We've got like a gazillion answers to our main topic, and we have our preparation. Well, that sounds strange. We have our our Precipice of Dreams session, which was called Preparations, and we'll be asking you questions in chat and everything, and we'll be discussing that episode. So there's that. And well, Djinn is my guest, so that will be a lot of fun because he's also always so goofy, you know.
Super goofy.
So better watch out for.
Long ears.
Yeah. What is Goofy's voice again? I can't remember. Oh no, that's not it. It doesn't. I can't remember what it sounds like. I have to think about that. I can't do Donald Duck either, by the way. So that's the other thing.
Me neither.
Anyway, we've got socials, people, and they can be found under !socials, which probably Michel is going to do, and he either will or he won't. It's a kind of 50% chance that he will do either of those. And there it goes, the link tree. There you can find all links to our Voidcast live stuff. The most important, that's not really true, but for the videos, it's probably Twitch and YouTube, where you can find all of our content. And I hope that you will find all of our content there, and just like and click follow buttons and everything. Click that bell to get notified when we are live, etc. And then you will help us in that way. So
we will appreciate it.
We will appreciate it indeed.
A lot.
Other things. Do we have other things? Yeah, we have other things. Man, okay, so I wanted to structure this show just a bit, but you know, it's not going to happen, right? Anyway, so next Monday it will be a new session from the Precipice of Dreams, our actual play series at 8:30 Central European Time. And I think we're going to do some stuff in that session, which makes me very excited about, getting into the action, so to say. Then the other thing is the Tuesday after that is another Jasper's Laboratory. Topic is still... I haven't determined the new topic yet, so to say. We'll be continuing after we our journey back to Pleasantville, possibly, but maybe we can get some inspiration from chat during the live show about what we're going to prep. I have some couple of ideas about concepts that I want to incorporate in the show, but I have no real idea where we are going to incorporate it in. So we'll see about that. Then the other thing is that the Monday after that is another Parallel Projections, and Misha will be starting a new game because he finished Oxenfree yesterday. And there's a vote on our Discord server about that. There was a great Dungeon Master Corner thing by Roger as well. I've posted the monster that I made in the Jasper's Lab section, so you can look at it there. I tweaked it a bit compared to the show, and because of finishing touches and everything, and deciding that you wanted to adjust some stuff. So that's that, and then the Tuesday after that there will be another Talking Void, so it will be 2 weeks later again. But for this evening we'll have Djinn as our guest, and we'll have
a lot of questions and answers.
Yes, a lot of questions and answers. We had an amazing number of answers to our TPK question for today. The topic of today will be about TPK and why it happened. TPK is a total party kill, by the way, for those who don't know. And I think I structured them quite well to make a cool show for you this evening. But first, let's dive into the intro. And here we go! And we are back. What? When did we have? We had a 3/4 of an hour introduction.
Yeah. The intro was just going on and going on and going on, and it was perfect. It was very nice, but it was.
Aren't you mistaken the show for the introduction then?
Almost. I thought we were going to make the hour mark, but.
Yeah. Well, when it reaches about 10 o'clock, then I know that we should have been talking about the main topic for quite a while, you know. But who cares what happens before that? So we were still talking because, you know. Chat is fine and all, but we sometimes have a minute to spare when the introduction is rolling. Why not keep talking in that time instead of just sitting there staring at your screen blankly, and doing nothing, right? Because this show is about talking about. Man, what strange sentences this evening. Anyway, it's about talking about. Yeah, it's okay. It fits. It's about talking about Dungeons and Dragons and other kind of RPGs with friends. That's what we build the show on that idea, that concept, so to say. Because as we get older, we tend to have jobs. Some of us have kids. Some of us have other obligations. And for some reason, we can't talk to each other every evening about last session or the next session, and that makes us really sad. So that is what this show is for, and that is what fills that void in our soul with some stupid talking. Anyway, I should remember that. Can you write this down for me, Djinn? Thank you. Anyway, let's. But we'll be starting with the last episode of the Precipice of Dreams again. So let's go to that first part. Let's make some preparations, because the episode was named Preparations. We were enjoying it. What were you enjoying, Ashley? The introduction. Anyway, I don't know. Okay. What did you think of the episode? Sorry, Djinn. There you go.
I was reading it too. It's funny. Yeah, I enjoyed our last episode.
Why? Why did you enjoy our last episode? Come on, be real.
Maybe it was on a different pace than normal. So for me, it was. It took me a little longer than it used to get back in, because we hadn't played in a longer time, and when I got in, it was really good, and then I got this tired vibe, and I thought some of us had that. So the usual pace was a bit slower than normal, but I thought that was very representative because we're still trying to make a show about playing D&D, and these sessions happen. There
Yeah.
are those sessions that everybody's tired and that it's not moving forward as fast as you may even want to, but that's also because you have to take more time to think about stuff. And preparations are always, like, I think that we did fine because I have sessions of preparation, like hours, maybe 12 or 16 hours of preparation before some things that we do, and then still we do it different than we
Yeah.
planned.
Yeah, it is
So
this discussion about this. Well, because the main topic this evening is total party kills, and you see all these. Yo, first time on stream. Welcome, upgrade 4D3. I think it's upgrade. Oh, it's upgrade. I should just say upgrade, man. Yep, it is.
it's so
Welcome,
nice.
upgrade. Man, now I lost my train of thought again. There you go. And Esner says, I noticed that Djinn finally spent some time again to draw a map. Seems like that has been a while, after some vigorous mapping early in the story. How are you all, fellows? We are great. I hope chat is great as well. Thank you for joining us, Upgrade. We were just talking about the previous session of our actual play series, The Precipice of Dreams, and how it was a bit of a slower episode, but that was okay because we were prepping for our next thing. And I was talking on Dutch 20 about this because of the TPK thing that we will be discussing later, and that, the big frustration of any dungeon master is that players plan and plan and plan, and then finally they go and do their stuff, and everything goes to shit.
Yep.
Yeah, because they do stuff differently. So I thought we had a kind of a general idea of what we were going to do next session, namely a lot of things. And there was a kind of a
Little road or something.
a path that we could follow from option A to B and shift to Z and turn back to G, so to say. But I hope it will be clear for our dungeon master, because I think he really said something like, I have to prepare something, guys. So I would like to know what you're going to do. So are we going to do what we said that we were going to do?
I think that we are, but I think that there's so many ifs and then and whens that it's probably going to be, it's going to be fun. That's going to be that's for sure. There's
It's
a lot
going
of
to be fun.
unexpected things going to happen.
I think so too. Yeah, I think so too. Upgrade was making a subclass last week. That is cool. I like subclasses. Would like to talk to you about that at a certain point.
You do love your subclasses.
Yeah, maybe you can join us in Jasper's lab next week, and we can introduce it in some way. Maybe, I don't know. Could be a thing. Discharged veteran. Oh, sounds cool. Fighter subclass. We'll talk about that. I thought because we had it is called preparations, the session, and I think we did a lot of preparation, but there was this stuff happening before that as well, where we were still considering stuff, and then Michelle or Altleaf had her dream.
Yep.
As well. It was again kind of lore heavy as well, I think.
Yeah, I loved it. Really, I loved that part. Like we are getting so much more to know about the world that we're playing in, which finally begins to make some sense.
So, what do you think is happening then? Because I talked about this with Michelle and Eric already. What do you think is happening?
In like general great lines, or I don't have any idea, but there's like with the gods and the dreams, and the new god Adon, and the eye, and I forgot his name right now, but the brother of the eye, who is having some kind of business with Oddleaf. So those are the greater players, but what they are exactly, what they do exactly, like the eye is obviously making nightmares instead of dreams. But if our world is a real world or not, I cannot say yet. There's so much information missing, and I have been playing campaigns with Roger so long to know that every time I think that I have it, I'm just maybe in one of my 10 thoughts a step in the right direction. So I'm getting to be a little bit more patient player and first see and then draw my conclusions. Because I have the feeling that we only had like only a slight bit of information yet.
Yeah, I think so too. Although it feels like it's getting more consistent as we 16 worlds, 8 tenets, 16 things derived from the tenets, 16 gods. What was it called again? I always forget the name of the city. Primus?
Primus, yeah.
And all those kind of things that are happening. And then but I thought that this connection was suddenly came very close to knowing more, because Roger said in out of character that it would be fun if he could finally reveal the name of what might be kind of our big enemy. I don't know if it will be the big enemy of this story arc or of the whole adventure. I don't know. And then the first thing we discovered in the first session after that is that it had a real connection with Oddleaf, and that Adon was the prize. Was that in this one? I don't know. Yeah, and
whatever that may mean.
Yeah, whatever that may mean. I have no idea.
No.
In what way it might be the prize. I can imagine stuff, but
that's
gaming,
what makes it fun.
Gaming stuff. Yeah. So I thought that was a big reveal, and and then we did the preparation as well, of course. And if chat has any questions about the last episode, please ask them in the chat, because we will try to answer them. And then we did the preparation, and then I got this feeling that we went here to confront or to free or to do whatever with the druid. And then it's probably back to the normal world in a way. And the transitions tree was noted on the map. And I thought, well, I'm really missing the other Bowen. Starting to want to play him again.
You mean?
Yeah.
Jasper.
What? Sorry?
Do you mean to play other Bowen?
To play the other Bowen again.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah. So there's a question in chat. Upgrade says, wait, this is a discussion for D&D game stream, and last episode TPK happened? What the hell exactly happened? No, there's two things. In this show we discuss our previous episode, and the main topic of this episode, which we will be discussing after this, will be about... I sent out a question on a couple of channels where I ask... a question, and this time is what was the did you ever experience TPK and how did it happen? And I got like over 200 replies to that, and we'll be discussing a couple of those answers. So they are two unrelated things, but sorry, Djinn, what did you say? You can imagine that I would like to play him again.
Yeah, the other Bowen.
Yeah,
not only because it might actually be less strenuous for your voice.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah, and it is the character that I started off with, and it has been a longer time playing this Bowen than it has been that Bowen by now. So that's strange as well. Although I consider them both my characters.
Yeah. I consider them the same person in a way. I love that duality about both characters.
Yeah, I love it as well. That's
I want to have more discussions, especially with all the new info. I think that we would really like to talk to Adon Believing Bowen about this stuff.
Yeah, I think so too. And I have no idea yet of how he's going to react. I feel that Solwing has the best interactions with this episode. What was your favorite moment?
That's a good question, maybe. Yeah, I really like the part where we were talking about the dream, so that Oddleaf actually shared her dream with us without first doing her own thing. That gave me the feeling that we're actually becoming a party more and more. But then the discussion that came after it, I think that I'm not going to go into all the details, but
we've decided that you can go into details if you want, because we are going to presume that our viewers have watched the previous episode, and if not, then
it's more that in these interactions, I'm always, and I think that all of us are always like really playing our characters well, and sometimes I try, you're just so into the vibe that that you feel what your character would do, and not like the player character. So not me as Djinn looking at this adventure and trying to find out what's behind all it, but just me as a character in a world that's actually happening around me and trying to find my way in all that information. And that if you get into that vibe, and I had that last time a lot, that I had the feeling that we were all in our characters so much that I was just not talking to you guys as my friends that I know for 20 years, but as all the characters that we're playing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
After a long time not playing, that was the moment that I felt that we were back in the game, and it felt good that we could dive so deep after that. Like sometimes you have these off sessions that a lot of things are said that are out of character and stuff like that, and I think that we jumped right in again. That was for me the most the best interaction of that session, but it was so broad that I don't have like one specific thing which brings out to me like that was the best.
Yeah, I think I agree. And we it was kind of a resolving session as well. Like I was still diseased at the start of the session. I think I really should do something about that. And then we had to do our shopping, and we had to do our everything, and our mesmerizing about what happened. And really did man. What's happening with my double past tense English stuff this evening? We didn't have time yet to man.
It's not going so well. Where do you want to go, Jasper?
I want to say that to put it all in the right place in our mind, like to order what happened, and because so many things happen, and then this is kind of a new arc as well, going from this tree to the druid and confronting the baddies again and stuff. Yeah.
I think that is maybe also why I like the session a lot, because that like in D&D so much strange stuff happens, and you tend to, especially when the adventure continues and you're longer in the same party and you're higher level, you tend to take a lot of things for granted, and sometimes like the emotional response and the emotional growth of a character can really be undersnowed by just this heavy campaign of a lot of things happening. And I have that feeling with this campaign, like there's constantly a lot happening, but I also have the feeling that if we want it, we can take the time to take some time for that emotional part, and to take a step back and say, yes, of course we need to save the druid. That's what we came here for. But let's also talk about the character changing circumstances that we just been through, and the impact that it has on the character, because that for me always gives a good moment to have your character develop. And maybe at first you always wanted to eat pears, and then later in the campaign you also eat grapes, and it's because someone said you should eat some different fruits, and at first you didn't want to believe it, but then you start doing it and it's okay. But these kind of things normally, especially in a high tempo campaign, you don't have a lot of time for that. And I think that this was a good moment to not rush forward, save the druid, but talk about the world that we're in and what it means for the world that we're from and for us as persons. And that was nice.
Yeah, I think so too. And I like that you try to make the other Bowen cook. Or this Bowen. If you're talking about pears and grapes, you know?
It's just Solwing loves Bowen's cooking.
So Upgrade says, I love to do that. When I play, I do what my characters would do instead of me. That's what D&D is for. You gotta live in the moment literally. Yeah. Once that barrier disappears between you as a player and the character, then you know that you have found a soft spot, so to say. Never go too far, I would say, but who knows, right?
Especially if you're playing an Averin, because like standing on your balcony being like cacao would be a very bad idea.
Fly away!
Exactly. Don't try that.
Esner is trying to help me understand English better and not succeeding at all. Okay. So our plan is to... I thought it was pretty funny how we were discussing what we were going to do, because we wanted to infiltrate, we wanted to have monsters appear out of nowhere, we wanted to have Spriggans come from another direction, we wanted to charm people, we wanted to make people love us, we wanted to run, we wanted to go stealthy, we wanted to confront them immediately, we wanted to fly.
Exactly what I liked about and what I meant with we were also character invested, because if you really think about it, what does New Bowen know about tactics and storming a place and just freeing captures?
Yeah.
I know my character has very, very little experience with assaulting a place and getting the hostages out free. And I would say the same for Oddleaf. So in a way, it's just not our cup of tea to plan this.
No.
We could be better just placed by some general, like, okay, you're a team of weird individuals, so do your thing over there. But now we are actually planning it, and these crazy thoughts and things come from it. Which would be the same if you would ask Jasper and Djinn right now to sit in a very special classified strategist meeting of how to take down one or another
there's your Dutch coming
or mafioso or something like that. Then if we would actually have the say in it, then it would not become the best plan, I think. It would be exciting, it would be sci-fi, it would be derived from a lot of fantasy books, but it would not be practical, I think.
Yeah, you do da-da-da-da-da with the Uzi and then everybody dies.
First we have to get 10 people into the building without being discovered. So you dress up as a mailman, you dress up...
Speak for yourself, I am noble-born strategy was standard in my education. Well, there you go. That's what Michel says.
Well, that's why the best plans came from Oddleaf and Thomas, by the way. But my idea was, let's send him some lurking monster. Let's just go out into the jungle, find some flesh-eating monster, and try to get it to go with us and attack them.
Well, I thought I was a bit. I thought that I had a great plan, but nobody really listened to me again, or something. Is that what happened? Like, guys, I can just walk in, you know.
You had a great plan, but I think that all of us were thinking, but they would not recognize you from your looks, but they would recognize you from the way that you behave.
But they've never met me.
Pillar, then I think they would immediately know. Like, that's not one of our guys.
I would just be saying, this place is getting to me. The funny thing is, I've got quite a high charisma, so I could bluff my way through in a way.
I really think that you could actually pull it off, and that we're all underestimating you. But I think that from my character's perspective, I didn't think it was a good idea. Like, from my other perspective, I felt like Bowen has the best idea. Come on, somebody give him some slack and some credit. But no.
I like that about him. Yeah. Misha says it was a great plan and it was addressed in game. Your behavior would be weird. Guys! So I think we've discussed this topic enough for the evening. Let's go into the main topic of the show. And I really want to have a tune for this, you know. I don't know, something. But we don't have that yet. So we'll just dive right in. Did you ever experience a total party kill, and how did it happen? Well, as you know, if you post such a question, you get all kinds of different answers, and some of them are really straightforward, others are really short, some are really funny, and some don't answer this question at all, but talk about all kinds of other stuff. And I had one really short answer, for example, which was a great answer. That's why I included it. But this was really short, and I thought, well, we can be done with that in a couple of seconds. But then this guy messaged me with a story that was so big, and which is great, of course, because now we have some context to what he was saying. And so let's dive into the answers to this question, and we'll be starting with kind of a serious one this time instead of a funny one, because I thought, why not switch it around a bit? And the first answer is by Marcia, and it's been about 15 years, but it was my first character. ... What did you think of that answer?
Yeah, I can imagine. Like, especially if it's a character. I don't know if she played like one session or an entire campaign with it, but in both cases it would be quite an incident, because if you lose your character in a party kill like in session 1, then it's pretty dramatic. But if you lose it during a long campaign, then you can become quite attached. So
yeah, is Marcia here? Did she continue playing? I don't know yet. She sounds traumatized. Yeah, that's what I thought, actually. Upgrade says, my party that I used to DM for nearly died because the fighter rogue was scared, and he put out a magical blue candle that was holding some imprisoned spirits at bay in a crypt, and the party nearly got turned to shreds by them until the sorcerer at the time just barely managed to cast a burning hands on the pedestal the candle was on to relight it. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that reminds me in a way. I started watching Shadow and Bone, new series on Netflix.
I haven't seen it yet.
I've watched 2 episodes by now, which is not that much. But I think it's one of the shows that reminds me the most of Dungeons and Dragons, which is might be a cool thing. I don't know yet. But it reminds me because there was a blue flame and it went out and stuff happened. Yeah. But Yeah, those kinds of things. That's near TPK, and we'll be getting to the cause of those kinds of things upgrade, because I think that most of the time TPKs kind of happen because of that kind of stuff.
Yep.
If I saw the answers, that's how they happen. Is Marcia here? Did she continue playing? Well, yeah, she has been playing for another 15 years, at least. Well, I don't know, actually. That isn't really included, but I'm guessing so, because she answered on the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition forum, so she's probably still playing. But I think that that it's still kind of a character she remembers fondly, and it might have caused a trauma of some sort. But I thought it was a really great answer. It is an answer to the question specifically, but that's what I said before we started this. It is an answer, and from the context you get the idea of, something happened. Yeah. And this is how Dungeons & Dragons keeps reappearing in your... or is so close to your heart that you still feel that you've died 15 years ago, in a way.
Yep.
Which on itself is a kind of a weird thing, I know. I remember dying. Pretty cool if you could say that in real life. Right?
I think some people can.
Possibly, yeah. I remember nearly dying, so that's a thing. Okay, let's go to the next one. And here are some short answers, which I thought were pretty funny, and then there's one that has become a long answer, but let's jump into that. So Trey says the players refuse to run despite a Looney Tunes amount of stop signs and warnings. You kind of get what you deserve chasing a beholder as a party at level 3.
True that.
This is the first stop sign thing that I got, and or in a short format, which I really like, because when the dungeon, I think we said it last time on our own session of the Precipice of Dreams, where Roger said something, are you really going to do it that way? Or something. And so, punk, there's a stop sign.
Yeah, that's one of the warning signs. Yeah. Is this your plan?
Really? Yeah. Yeah. So, how exactly? Beholder. Beholder. So, would you consider going after a beholder at 3rd level, Djinn?
I think yes, definitely. Yeah, it depends on the character you play. Like I have one character that I'm still playing in the campaign, and he's been, like so arrogant and I don't know the right word now, but he just he thinks too highly of himself. And he always thinks nothing can stop him. And he had that on level 1, and he still has that now.
On level?
I think 16.
16? You're a 16th level by now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's high.
Yeah, and the only one in the party that did not actually die. So I've, like, one of my party members said that to me, or it was you maybe. Like, that's quite an accomplishment to become level 16 without actually dying once.
Yeah, it is. I don't think I said it though, but I can totally agree with that sentiment. Could have said it, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it was close a couple of times, but I was lucky. And but that character would definitely, if somebody told him like that's a monster nobody can slay, then I would have gone for it.
Yeah.
And I would have died because of it.
So luckily your dungeon master didn't put you against epic level encounters when you were 3rd level.
Only I had a sensible party, and they were always the ones that didn't say like you don't have to dare to do it, but just said like we have more important things to do now. So,
oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's a good thing, a good way
to exactly
get you on the right path again. Actually says every dungeon master has his tactics. Are you sure? Are you really sure? Okay, you can trap him and he gets away. Oh, you get up magically and carry on. Oh well, yeah. all those kinds of things that help you as a dungeon master. Then the next one is by Robert, and he just says black hole.
Yeah, which I just read, which was so good. That says everything with 2 words.
No explanation needed. Yeah, black hole. Just get sucked in, End of story.
Sorry.
No shadow realm behind those curtains or stuff. It's just death. Immediate. For the whole party.
Yeah.
It's done.
You had a choice.
You had a choice.
Black hole.
Black hole. So let's keep that one short. Then Sean says, 4 level 1 players against octopus.
Yeah, I can imagine that too.
Yeah, there were more of these guys, like 4 level 1 players against a group of goblins, or 4 level 1. I think there was a boar somewhere in
but
there.
it's also I've been playing it long now, and you have been too, and there are certain things that you learn in D&D, like how powerful am I as a first level character, especially if you've played some campaigns and some higher level things. You notice that difference so much, but if you're just playing D&D for the very first time and you're just a level 1 character and your DM is also not very experienced and thinks like, whoa, there's a cool monster here. There's 8 paws, so 8 attacks, 4 players, sounds reasonable. Yeah, and then it could be over in round 1,
Truly, yeah. I think the way charge works, I was thinking about the boar in this as well, because, a boar, what is a boar even? And then when you look, I don't know really what the stats are, but I can imagine its stats like having 3d8 plus 3 hit points and doing a gore attack, which means that he gets 2 attacks when he charges more than 20 feet or something, impales stuff with his tusks and does another attack. And then, that's 1 character dead.
Yes.
Yeah. Because
exactly.
King Baratheon from the Game of Thrones finally died to a boar, so why not a first level character, Yeah.
No, but some things are like the rats in the dungeon that everybody's always talking about. I mean, there have been cases where you just keep on throwing 2s, 3s, and 4s, and you're actually losing that fight.
Yeah. Yeah, I had one of my total party kills was because of a fight that they should have. Well, it was a difficult fight because they really had to feel that somebody was angry at them, but they were in an inn in a capital city. They were sitting at the table and they were missing their healer, so that's a thing. But there were still 5 other characters, and the whole inn was filled, and this portal opened, and these creatures that they had fought at 3rd level or 4th level or so came through. Only when they fought them previously, there were 2 or 3 of them, and they were a bit separated and a bit wounded. And now there were 5 of them, and they get stronger when they're in bigger numbers. But they should have easily won. But they kept rolling 2s and 1s, and not wanting to kill everybody in the inn didn't help as well for area of effect spells, and they wiped. And but it wasn't because the encounter was too difficult. It was because of all the 2s and the 1s and I think the sheer panic of the situation. And it was Halloween, so that's a thing. They just died.
And also people because I know that feeling, like if you already threw 5 or 6 bad die, and you know that you can take it on. If I hit it once, then it will die, or if I hit it once and the rest of my party also hits it, then it will die. Then you're not going to say okay, I still have 5 hit points left, I'm just going to bolt. I'm just going to get out of here so that at least one of the party survives. Yeah. You're going to think I'm going to roll 115. I'm going to do it, and then you roll another 3, and then you're gone.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. So this party wipe happened I think it happened in 2018, something. Yeah, at Halloween. And that was when I converted the party from 3.5 edition to 5th edition. And a couple of them reused their old characters because I had developed a story over that. But and some started new characters, and then right now there's only one character left from that original party, because he can't really die, because he consists of being two lenses that can be put into any body, and then he just takes over that body and he becomes a new person again. So he has been a gnome, he has been a doppelganger, he has been he's currently a half bronze dragon, and he has been a human, and a human lycanthrope werewolf. And
Wow.
it's Ralph, by the way. So
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. He tells me a lot about this character, so I know a lot.
So it was logical for him to not be dead after TPK. Then someone else really wanted to continue his character, so I allowed it in a strange way. But then he died at the second encounter again, and then upgrade is back. Welcome back. The second character died again after 2 sessions, and then he was just like, okay, I'm rolling this new character because this is not fun. Yeah. But in the end, it was cool. So
maybe this is the bridge where I have to confess to everyone that I've never had a personal experience with Total Party Kill. I heard about it from friends. I've been close, definitely, but I never really had the entire party die.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a thing. I like it in a way.
I maybe it's because I'm so scared of it that it never happened to me.
I think, could be. The thing is, why I'm saying that I like it is not because I think it's cool to kill party members, but I think it gives you a certain sense of dread and existential crisis and stuff that you really take with you to your next characters. Because when you start realizing that you really can die, then that is the end. Existential crisis upgrade. Then your next adventure, you'll be sure to talk more tactics, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely, and especially the teamwork, and also sometimes, like, we had a discussion once when a fight was really going bad, like, if this goes on being bad, because we were a party that were always like, we started strong and then we started losing out, and then at some point we just had another curve in it, so we re-healed and rebuffed, and there was always this curve in battle, and there was once that the curve didn't seem to come, and that we actually asked the mage, like, okay, so if next round we're still not turning the curve, then you should just teleport out of here, because you have materials of us so that you can resurrect us, as to not have a total party kill. Yeah. So I did go to those lengths to not be party killed.
Yeah, that's cool. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. That's cool as well. By my half-orc barbarian zealot I played like a friendly sports mom died. I cried, man, so bad. Yeah. I haven't cried actually, but I remember when we had a sort of TPK in my first big adventure is that a friend of mine still reminds me of that because I meet her now at school where my children go, and her children go there as well. And she said that she still remembers that the same guy we were talking about was really depressed at school, and she asked him, what happened? And he just said, I died yesterday. You know, he was really sad and stuff. It made a big impression on her. That's why, she still remembers that as almost a true thing that happened. Yeah, yeah.
Well, it feels true.
Yeah, it feels real. Yeah, feels a whole lot of real. So. Well, Upgrade is going mad in chat. Let me see. With my first character, I played him with such a chronic fear of death. I actually picked up with him the clone spell. Yeah, he was a roarbard, like the clone spell. Yeah, there is all the simulacri and that kind of stuff where you can really take care of expertly dodging death, so to say. Yeah. And then the last one is, I'll let you guys know tonight. That was the short one that I was talking about, because this guy had his session in between. And he tried to tell me the whole story, where he told me why his whole party would be dying on that evening. And it is really complicated. I can't reproduce it to the letter, but it had something to do with them walking into a very big trap where this kind of vampire without a body was trying to drain Azimar from their blood so he could make a new body, and then he would be kind of a godly vampire. And at the same time there was this wizard who went with them in the magic jar and who was talking to one of the characters and trying to get him to do stuff that he didn't want to do, but the guy in the urn in the magic jar was he was doing his own thing. And then they met this wizard who turned into maggots, but then reassembled himself from maggots, and who was supposed to be an ally, but they pissed him off, so he became a villain. And then all these villains came together in one room accidentally, and they had to fight them all at the same time. And a whole lot of things happened, is what he told me. And he thought, well, they will never survive this. They kind of did survive, but they put 3 main evils into the world in the end. So it wasn't the TPK, but I think that, I'll tell you after tonight. I've had a lot of these sessions where I thought, man, next session will be a TPK, because how will they ever get out of this situation?
Yep.
And then it just didn't happen. So.
Yeah, but it's also a little bit like we discussed earlier, like as a DM, if you have something which will be instant player kill, then you need to drop some measure of that they could know, that they have a choice in it. You don't just drop them off the ravine and say you don't have any slow fall and you're going to take 20d6 damage. Yes, you're level 2. You're not going to do that.
Yeah, but I think this adventure was, what happened had already happened before that, because they all.
It's more like if I don't have that experience as a DM, but I think that if my players would come to me and say like, okay, we made a very bad judgment of error and we got ourselves into this super sticky situation, and we're not trying to fight our way out of it anymore. We're just trying to not get the entire party killed, and we have these and these and these ideas of how to get out of there, or something like that. Then I would not steer them like this will be your answer, but then I would definitely try to adapt my adventure so that they at least have a chance to get away.
Yeah, but now in this time they the previous session ended where they accidentally made an enemy of a possible worm that walks friend, because that is what the creature was, and they did that in a room that had an illusionary wall where the sacrifice ritual for becoming the vampire was happening, and the magic jar had been with them for a couple of sessions, I think, because that guy was leading them towards this situation. But they didn't know what was happening behind the wall. No. They accidentally triggered a possible ally as an enemy, and they had no idea that the magic jar was doing stuff as well. So they went into the session not knowing that it would be bad.
No, exactly.
Yeah, except for the worm that walks thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but still, like if you find out that suddenly all the great allies that you felt safe with are your big enemies, then you still have choices.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You can always talk and run, for instance, instead of fight.
That's true. Yeah,
and
we'll be getting to that one as well.
Yeah. Let's continue. Sorry, I'll keep going.
Esther says, reminds me of Steve Jobs' commandment speech that death is the greatest invention because it limits, because it exists, it gives purpose. Because it limits, because it exists, it gives purpose. That's Steve Jobs. Quite a man. Yeah.
Didn't expect that reaction. That's why I laugh.
No, but it's true, though. I think that to keep it light-hearted, that being near death not that long ago gave me a sense of what I wanted to do, namely tell more stories. And I think that's why I have this show right now, and among other things. So, and the funny thing is, I'm now, instead of running 3 campaigns, I'm just running 1 campaign. So there's a bit of payoff there. But death is the big limiter, and once you become aware of it, you want to do as much before that happens as possible. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree too. In the sense of it's good to be aware that your existence is something temporarily, so you should enjoy it and make it the most.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next answer, because otherwise we never get to the end of it.
I was thinking exactly.
Ekde says, started the Dark Sun campaign. We were traveling to a city we had been summoned to, got attacked en route, got wiped out in the first session. Dungeon Master just laughed at us, and we started over with the same characters. Lol. And Colin says, yep, first level characters in the classic old school D&D campaign, fighting zombies in an underground temple, and none of us could land a hit to save our lives. Replacement party lasted for 10 in real life years after that, though. So I put those two on the same page, because the first one is like, you must still realize in the end that it is just a game. It's not fun to die in your first session with characters that you really want to play, so why not restart the whole thing? You know nothing about the adventure. And the second one is just, okay, sometimes this is what happens, but your next character is cooler anyway.
Yeah.
So they're kind of opposites, but they give answer to the same kind of predicament. I like that.
Yeah, and it's recognizable, like I said before, like on level 1, especially as an experienced player. I'm like, on level 1 I play like I'm walking in a glass cabinet, like on my toes, very carefully, like not making a fight with anyone, always trying to be nice to people. And then if you're level 10, and you sometimes can say screw you and do my own thing. But I'm not doing that as a level 1 if I really invested in my background for my character.
Is that true?
Although it's also fun to just lose a character with a lot of background in one go. Because
I think that we did terribly then in that regard in our Precipice of Dreams adventure. Because I think we're stumbling into everything and not not even optimizing our fights, so to say.
No, that's true. That's true. But I think that we do role play even in battle, and that is something that you don't also find always in first level campaigns.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really big fun. Yeah. But I like both of these answers, and especially, I like them both, but I think that what is really good about the first one is the fact that the restart thing.
Yeah. Not make a mess out of it, just... No.
And I remember doing starting the night below, and the first encounter is pretty hard. And it has a line in there that says when if the characters fail this fight because it is pretty hard, they become conscious again after a short while and see the form of a lady disappearing into the woods, and that's a non-playing character that they will find later on in the adventure, but it's a possibility that they find it there already. This is what happened to my party, but I don't know what I would have done at that point, because I was like 15 or 16 years old at that point, if they had died. If I would been so hardcore that I would just have said, no, you can't play this adventure anymore, or let's restart with different characters, or would I have allowed them to just we start with these characters? I don't know.
I think you probably wouldn't.
Nah.
At that time.
No. We were so strict back then with the rules and everything, and at least I was.
You have a name as a vengeful DM.
A vengeful DM.
Yeah, and I think that comes from your early period also. Like
I was very strict, and my encounters were always pretty hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was funny because I most of my encounters came from products, not from my own mind. So those encounters were pretty hard, and what I always remember is that they had all these hard encounters after each other, and then they would have one encounter that would go great, and they were suddenly feeling like the heroes they could be, and they would rush into the next one and get slaughtered again because of hubris, so to say.
Yeah, but that happens a lot.
Yeah.
If you have one of these win feeling, then you think you can own anything, and then.
Yeah.
But it's also it even on high levels, the roll of the dice really plans the fight. We had it last night. We were testing something, and we, like our entire party was just throwing terrible. It's been a long while since I've seen so many 1s, 2s, and 3s in one session, and at a certain point it was like, fight's not really going anywhere. It's just not making a lot of pace, and well, it felt like that for everyone, but I really think that it was also because we threw like terrible.
Yeah.
And then just, if you're not damaging anyone and you're hard to damage, then it can take a long while to finish a fight.
Yeah, true. Was this with spaceships again?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I'm going to talk to Roger about that again then.
But he was actually one of the persons that said that. He said like there's too little tempo in it, and I want to adjust some things so that you have a little bit more feeling that you're going somewhere, and then after that whole speech we just finished the round, and then I threw 14 and 15 and I did some really nice damage, and then it felt like it could be over next turn, so
yeah, that's funny how that works. Yeah. Okay, let's jump into the next one then.
Yes.
Todd says, absolutely, if you play long enough, it is inevitable. It is an inevitability. And Rick says, never. But there have been both Dungeon Master and player when the PCs had to flee carrying the bodies of their fallen party members. Most recently, we, a group of 16-ish adventurers, thought we could kick Baba Yaga's ass. We couldn't. She destroyed us. By the second round, we were in full retreat with half of us dead and everyone almost dead. And the bard teleported us away at the beginning of the third round. So, absolutely and never. That's the thing where I put these two together in that slide. True again, right?
Yeah, amazing. And I really, when I read the first one, I thought, it's probably going to happen sooner or later if you keep on playing D&D. And then I read the second one and I thought, like, that's me.
Yeah, true. Well, you just wait, man. Once you've been playing for 40 years, then you finally get your TPK,
Exactly. If I just keep on playing, it will happen sooner or later.
Yeah. If the dungeon... Well, we also had an answer where somebody said something like, my father was drunk and he pitched me against 12 were-rats and my sister against a fire elemental, and we died. So, if you have a down day...
It's as well.
Yeah.
It's pretty terrible. I don't know what age they were.
I haven't asked, and that's why I didn't include it in the show in this way, but because I thought, well, this could be a thing, but it could not be a thing as well, of course. But I love long-going adventures and games. Those types of campaign that was the inspiration for the discharged veteran fighter I made. It's a good class, but playing a long time gets you quite a bit of benefits. Good subclass, yeah, cool. And Essen says F9, F5, F9. Quick save, quick load. Indeed. Love that one.
Oh, we wished for that so many times in D&D.
Well, actually, upgrade. One of well, it's not actually one of our players plays two characters in the Precipice of Dreams. Thomas, who is kind of his main, and the other is Gunther, who is a veteran. So maybe we'll let Roger look at your subclass as well. Maybe it's something. I don't know. I really hope you have some time later to check it out. I think you'll like it. Yeah, I'll not be doing it this evening, but I will be checking it out.
Nice. Oh.
I have to click the link so as to open it. Yeah, I've opened it. It's now in my browser. So there you go. Upgrade. Yeah, so two funny answers. And the second one is what you described earlier, really, you know?
Yeah, but I like there's been tons of times that this happened. There's even been a time that we split the party, never split the party, and half of us died and the other half won their battle. But because the death of the three characters was so severe for the whole adventure, one of the characters that survived used his powers to bring us back in time to not have lost our lives there, half of the party. So that might count as a player kill, total party kill. Because I didn't die, and two of my party mates didn't die as well, but the others died so bad that they couldn't be resurrected unless this happened. So we're actually already in a different version of the reality that we were playing.
That's interesting stuff as well.
It's
Never know how that timey-wimey stuff benefits you, or quite the opposite. You know.
My mages are the best.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I would like to play a time mage at a certain point. It'd be great. But you know, we never know what Roger is in store for us. So who knows?
Exactly.
Let's go to the next one then. And this is one for the big answer screen. So let's put that up. There we go. Christine says, 2 examples where it was part of the party. First, we decided to fight first rather than talk, and we were a party of talking, and the DM had set it up to talk first, which should have avoided combat. Multiple of the players had a bad week, and out of normal character patterns just started to fight. Resulted in the death of all the PCs and most of the enemies. Once it was over, everyone sort of went, what the fuck? And retconned the entire thing back to the initial conversation.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I can imagine this, you know, because as we said before, we didn't have that experience, but for some reason, we had it not long ago that we all had a bad day, and even though Dungeons and Dragons can lift your spirits greatly, you take some of it with you anyway, right?
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. Like if I'm too tired and I cannot focus my mind, then I cannot play my character as well.
Yeah.
And especially since this brings up, like, which I love, talk scenes. Like if you can bluff your way or convince your way out of a situation, is always. It can also really feel as a victory if that happens. If you know your enemy is strong and you didn't have to fight him, then that feels like. Yeah, potential party kill missed, and I can really, like, if you are that kind of a party and there's just two who are in a bad mood and just say, I draw my sword and I attack, where they would normally say, well, gentlemen, I don't know if that's the way that we're going to do it. And then, maybe we should just WTF and retcon, you know?
Yeah. Well, I like the fact that someone says this, you know, because I think I'm reading a lot of things online about how you should be playing Dungeons and Dragons, which is a stupid thing to say anyway, because every player, every group is different. But sadly, people mistake certain types of play as the right types of play, which is nonsense. And then you get these hard lines drawn into the sand where you should feel that death is the end of everything. And although I agree that I like that death can be a real thing, for some people it just isn't, and sometimes this could happen.
Yeah, but I think that it should be clear. I think that everything that I ever played, my DM always was clear about what to expect. Like when we did the Strommold session with you never ever said in the beginning, go make a character you feel comfortable with and get to know it and try to enjoy my adventure. You said build a character just to see how it works and try to keep alive as long as you can. Ha ha ha. Probably 2 sessions. And
a lot of the characters died there.
yeah, so many characters, and like I remember, and maybe like 10 years of trauma got me over it or something. But I remember that I really thought you hated my character so much when first I died from Illithits. Then I had like 2 to 4 weeks to think about if I wanted to build a new character or if I want, because we were already at the point where you said you are able to revive your character if you have the funds. I did have the funds. So I really thought about it, and I thought I just want to go further with my build, and I want to have a little bit more of the perks. And I resurrected my character, and we went to this dream world where I could not use my powers. So I was no threat to anyone. And still, you thought, hey, this might be a good opportunity to use not 1, not 2, but 3. Oh man.
3 disintegrates. Was it the 3 disintegrates?
Disintegrates, yes. I got disintegrate on you. I get my save. Oh, nice. I got another one. Oh yeah, I got my save again. And everybody was like, oh wow, how many times did that happen? And you threw 17 and 18, that's so good. And then you say, I throw another disintegrate at my just resurrected character who could do nothing in that entire battle because his powers didn't work. And I really thought, is this because he hates me? Not for real, of course, but it was like, what did I do to deserve this?
That was in that kind of throne room, right? With the ogres and stuff? What was it again? I can't remember exactly.
Oh yeah, it was. We went to some plane where I don't know why, but I couldn't use my spirit sword and stuff, and I could only defend, and I was just trying to help my party members, and I got totally disintegrated. But that was how the game went. Like everybody had his due, and I did feel at that time that you could have said, I'd rather have you build a new character instead of resurrecting you.
I'm just giving you the options, man.
yeah, no, exactly. But like you said, like it was a lot of fun, and
it was so deadly. Yeah.
I actually got to play a Battle Rager a little bit after that, and that was a lot of fun as well. So
3.5 Battle Rager, my own brew. Yeah,
exactly, and that was totally fun to do. So I was actually happy to have another character again and to play something different. But it was just that was one of those campaigns that, although I thought I just resurrected my character, I also thought when we started this, Jasper was really clear about it. Like, don't expect to survive any fight, and then you'll be fine. And that was the difficulty of that session, but also to keep 16 players on high level in check, quite an accomplishment. So
yeah, thank you. Yeah. Some cool things are happening in chat because our Dungeon Master has arrived and compliments upgrade on his Discharged Veteran build. That's cool. And Upgrade himself says, or herself, I don't know. I remember when I first started my campaign, my players called it cursed. Cause for the first 1 to 2 months, they rolled mostly under 10 and sometimes between 11 and 14. Yeah. Also, hello. Hello, Rocher. Yeah, that's a thing, you know. I think Djinn touched on this earlier. If this next roll will be a hit, then I'm feeling quite fine again. But nope, it's another 3, and there you go. That really is demotivating. And it is why in 5th edition they made the 2-hit roll pretty easy to do. Like you have standard, you have like a 65% chance to hit a creature of your current level, and it's not always true. You have creatures that are stronger than that, but then gets compensated in kind of another way. And it's also, well, I use resistances quite a lot, for example, but so damage is mostly halved, but sometimes I just don't do that and give it a lot of hit points so that you can feel every hit that you're dealing to this monster and feel pretty great about your damage rolls and stuff.
Yeah, it's also important.
Yeah, but
the fun that the part of the play is important.
Yeah.
I saw upgrades first 2 months. Like one of my first big D&D campaigns, I think it lasted for 3 or 4 years for me. The amounts of ones that I rolled, it was like even my party got convinced that there was just something wrong. And then I got new die, and then exactly the same thing happened. So it was just, and then at some point it turned. On higher level it turned, and I started throwing better.
Yeah,
but it's just random luck.
It's just, the Amfortas had a kind of the same problem. He had like 10 attacks in 2 rounds, and although I did crit, and I crit as much as I think the other characters did, I often had double to 3 or 4 times the chance to crit instead of the others. Yeah. So sometimes but that was okay because I couldn't complain about my damage output or anything. But but it's so strange how that works, you know, because everybody's, whoa, man, he's going like mad. But that was true. But considering the others,
considering that there's characters with 4 attacks who have like the same amount of crit abilities as you had with 40 attacks, that makes sense.
Yeah, so strange. Yeah, how that works. Yeah, but Michel, we were talking about this maybe on another Talking Void, I don't know, where you could because it was the previous one where you were on, because I said that I thought sewing was hitting was not hitting that much, you know. You remember that I said that? Yeah. And then Michel said that he took a look at the critical role stats. Because you feel that character is rolling badly and that one is always critting, and then he realized, hey, Donker Reps, welcome to the show. And then he realized that on average through the whole episodes they were rolling 10 to 11 on average, all of them, you know. And so that's pretty cool, that even though you get the feeling that someone is doing too little, too much. So it might be that that, for example, Gbion was a character from the party who always critted, wasn't critting that much out of the normal parameters as we thought.
Yeah.
But it was always at the right time or something.
If you throw that 20 on, okay, I'm now thinking 5th, but on your initiative or on one of the other rolls, which doesn't make it feel like double damage or something like, but you roll 4 20s on a listen check, then you're still rolling those 20s. But it's different than in combat when you have that hit.
Also that as well. And now Roger says, well, to be fair, at Djinn, you're probably the only player for whom the lucky feat isn't overpowered. So
I agree though. It was necessary.
Yeah. Yeah, and Michel did do the research on all the kit roll stats data set. Yeah. Did we do the second part already? I don't know.
No, we're just making it long.
But did I read the second was when the Dungeon Master screwed up the combat balance in 3.5 and used all the powers of the monsters, which included the centipede. I think it basically killed the entire party in its first action. I think the PCs rolled poorly, but it was driven by bad balance in combat.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah,
that happens too.
Yeah, mistakes can be made, of course.
Yeah.
Especially in 3.5 edition Dungeons and Dragons. You really have to have a sense of 3.5 edition balance to make the encounters fit.
I remember that one of our party members was getting killed, and that we decided to just dimension door our way in there and try to make it right. And of course they were warned because the other character was already in combat. So we got out of the dimension door, and I'm not kidding you, we got hit by 6 fireballs at the same time at the entire party.
And did you die from that?
No, we didn't. We like that was one of those moments that should have been party kill, but wasn't because of circumstances. Also, a lot of help from the DM, because he was also. I think that his reaction from how we survived the fireballs, or how many of us did not survive the fireballs, actually, that was a little bit that he understood, like, okay, I should have just used 2 to start off with, but this was a little bit.
The thing is that when I had the party kill in the inn that I told you about, it happened through fireballs as well. A lot of fireballs just exploding after each other. And but in 5th edition the fireball is a bit stronger again as it was in 3.5, because in 3.5 the hit points are just so high compared to the damage of a fireball.
But the ones who were like mages or persons who just didn't throw too well on their hit points with a class that has few hit points, they were insta-killed, all of them.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Our mage was insta-dead, could do nothing. Like,
yeah.
But on the other hand, like, it did make sense that an entire warned fort with the ability to cast these kind of spells and the power in-house that would have a defense like that.
Well, another TPK that they had was with 40 kind of Nagas, which each could cast magic missile at 5th level. And they all went off at the same time. So that's like 40 times 3 magic missiles, which is 120 times 1d4 plus 1 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was stupid of me to do it that way. And that's why I did something about that as well. But yeah, I didn't expect that it would make a fuss out of stuff in the middle of all these Naga, you know? And yeah. And then I thought, what would they do? Yeah. Cast a magic missile at them. Because they always hit. And it's force damage. And it's so powerful.
Yep.
Huh? Yeah. Strange things. Okay, let's jump to the next one, because we're going okay, but Christopher, this is funny because there will be another Christopher. Christopher says, running the original Tomb of Horrors back in 2nd edition, party comes to the end of a hall where the iconic mouth is sitting, open agape, deep blackness inside. Rogue climbs in and to see and vanishes. Rest of the party agrees it's a teleporter, so they all climb in. It was a sphere of annihilation. I just sat there looking sad while the entire party committed suicide. Yeah. This really happens, people, in that adventure. And the funny thing is, I think I saw 4 of the same stories between the 200 posts that I had. And that, yeah. And then, if you are a dungeon master that really is the type that says they can't know what's behind it, they have to draw their own conclusions, so I have this very stoic face on me, and they have to decide for themselves, and they catch up and think, well, you wouldn't just look at us that way, when we would all die when we step into the thing, and they jump in anyway. Yeah, it's harsh.
It's harsh.
Yeah. Wouldn't characters feel or sense they cannot survive a situation? Asks Donkere Rups. Well, you jumped in a bit later than the previous answer that we had, where we said that players should always have some kind of sense of a sense where if they could make it, or they could always talk to the dungeon master between sessions if they feel like things are getting too hard, and talk with the dungeon master about that kind of stuff. So often there is a sense of dread or a sense of that they shouldn't do anything, but then again at times the dungeon master can give numerous warnings and players will still do stupid stuff. So yeah. But back to this one, it's a classic, it's a sphere of annihilation, and nothing prepares you for going through it. You just die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe, yeah. Maybe he even said, like, the mage, you feel some strong magic behind that door or something like that, and then the players think, oh, there's a powerful magic item behind the door, let's go.
Sure thing. The person who asked this question is one of my players, and I recently said to them, you should investigate more because you're skipping such a lot of magical items along your route. I just told them that way that they were skipping stuff like mad. Not always their fault, but they could have been more decked out than they are right now. Yeah, that's because they are very story driven. You know, they are constantly having conversations and stuff, and aren't thinking about exploring every nook and cranny, so to say. Yeah. I think that in their recent bout, I can tell them because there are two of them online. At least I saw another one online as well, and they skipped like within a single area. They skipped like 10 magical items or something, which is funny.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
That's true.
But they have enough magic as it is, so not that big of a problem. Okay, so that's the Tomb of Horrors. Let's go to the next one. You see, there's another Christopher. Christopher, they wanted to play a party of all wizards. At level 3, they chased down a rumor of a natural cave that had massive rubies encrusted in the walls that you could just pluck out. I gave them every possible clue that this was a black dragon lair. This was meant to be a rumored quest that was out of reach for them at the moment. They went in, expecting to recon and flee, realizing they weren't ready. They leaned in, and a young black dragon, I scaled it down, ended up having them for lunch. As always, it was a matter of the dice. They knew full well that everything in the world was there, and it wasn't all skilled to their level.
Yep, makes sense.
Yeah, and I like this answer particularly because you see that the dungeon master has even tried to navigate around the possibility of them dying, and they still died, you know. Scaled down the dragon, gave them every hint, had non-playing characters talk to them. The cave was marked on the map, and yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Who needs items when you have a story? Yeah, true.
Yeah, and the other side of that story is that, like he said, it's all a matter of dice. So if they would have thrown really well, they might have actually got out of there.
Yeah.
I had that with that level 16 character I was just talking about. That one of the reasons that I'm still alive, I think, is that when we were level 5, we went to get the persons who kidnapped our mage and made him a slave, and made a lot of people mages slaves, and there was nobody in the party thinking like, must be quite an awesome crew to enslave mages, you know? I mean, that's not easy day's work. So we went in there, and it was terrifying. It was like we slept in rooms there to just have our rest because we were totally dead, and just hoping that they would not barge in or find us or stuff like that. But I did, after one encounter which was close to the max, receive a +3 shield and armor on level 5. Which I'm still using today. so like yeah. And that's maybe on the one hand that is overpowered for lower level characters. On the other hand, the fight that we had was against a guy who obviously had that items on, and he was almost invincible.
Yeah. And still managed to kill him.
Yeah, we threw a lot of criticals, so we managed to win. And
yeah, that's cool.
In the Dragon Horde as well, maybe you do find like a level 7 staff as a level 3 character, but yeah, you better roll a lot of 20s and 19s.
Yeah. It's interesting that you're saying that. This is, by the way, is 3.5 edition, so +3 isn't the max there, which it is in 5th edition, of course. It is cool that what I think is pretty cool about Dungeons and Dragons is that your environment doesn't level up with you, although certain things can level up as you progress through the adventure. I mean, if you have another party that's constantly harassing you, that party will be leveling as you are leveling, for example. But the dragon will still be there, and he will be a 20th level encounter when you're first level, and he will be a 20th level encounter when you're 20th level. And that's what I really like about Dungeons and Dragons, if you do it the right way, I think. That's what I really dislike, for example, about Elder Scrolls Oblivion, where if you stay in the same field and just do robbers, finally they will have glass armor because they've all leveled up within the same area, That was really silly, I think. Give me Morrowind in that case. But that makes it feel like you really, when you do stuff that's way above your level, that you really get the prize, a reward. Yeah.
And the other way around as well. You can easily be a level 10 character just slaying goblin villages, but don't expect your +3 sword to be found there. No,
indeed. Yeah. I remember walking around in Morrowind and seeing that. I think it was a veteran as well in this cabin, and she didn't have any armor on, but there was this ebony armor lying on the shelf, and you were really thinking, man, that's so cool, I want to have that. And you try to steal it, and she goes, hey! Came rushing with her sword, and gosh, dead. That's what I like about those games,
Yeah. Yeah, you need to think about what you do.
Yeah.
It's like D&D.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into the next one. Brian says, I've seen many TPKs over the years. One memorable incident was when I was DMing a 2nd edition tournament session at OrcCon, circa 1989. The players opened a room full of giant spiders and were soon overwhelmed. They fled backward through several rooms, each time creating a choke point at the doorway. 3 rooms into this fighting retreat, PCs started dying. They didn't manage to make it back to the entrance. One by one they each died. Once the last PC perished, we had this conversation. Dungeon Master, these spiders don't have hands, right? Players, what? Of course not, they're spiders. Dungeon Master, did you notice that I kept describing the heavy iron shot doors? Players, yeah, what about? Dungeon Master, well, why didn't you just close one of those doors? It's not like the spiders could easily open them. Players,
nice.
Yeah. Like that one. Yeah. TPK could easily been averted, right?
It sounds like there were some hints there about iron shot doors.
Yeah, indeed. And I really liked because this was in 1989, so I think computer games weren't that mainstream yet in that regard. Because, well, for example, the guy who's in chat right now is in one of my parties. They're all kind of WoW players first, and then they became they got into Dungeons and Dragons through me in a way, or through one of them who involved me in their party, so to say, as a dungeon master. And what I realized that when we started is that they were really thinking about stuff. Not all of them, but in a general way they did. You have to follow the main dungeon in a way and get to the end, and there's the boss. And didn't realize that you could climb a wall to get on top of a house or something, because that you can do such things in Dungeons and Dragons, and it can totally go straight from the main plot or the main road, so to say. But then, so that's really a thing that you get in these modern games where you get railroaded to a certain point and forget that you can do all other kinds of stuff.
Someone in chat that agrees with me, but that's what for me in a way killed the Final Fantasy series. Like, you had so much freedom to just go to different places and that had interactions with each other, and later games were now it's more open again, but later games were just railroading you onto it. Like, you could really just see the map and all your options, where at first you just saw the world and you didn't know if you could click on something or not, but you just had to find out, and that's a lot more fun for me.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, just no limits, so to say.
Just see where it goes.
I think it's the thing that I kind of dislike about games like World of Warcraft, because the dungeons look beautiful, but you cannot interact with anything in them except for the bosses and the monsters.
I like, it might not be my favorite game as well, but that's more because I think that I could lose myself in it and just not have a life anymore if I start enjoying it. But
just to don't get me wrong, because I really like the game in general, and I've played it for many years until I was fishing and I thought, what the hell am I doing? And I quit, so to say. But it's these kinds of aspects. It's not the whole game, because you can do amazing things in that game. You can even do role-playing in that game, especially when you're on a role-playing server. But, I would like that things that can be clickable or can be searched through should be able to be searched through in a way. Although this isn't really the case of Baldur's Gate games as well. But then when you see a lot of chests stacked together, then at least one chest can be clicked, like that.
Yeah, and it's more like that's why we play D&D, because that's how ever sophisticated computer games might get. It will be a long, long while. It won't be my lifetime when you can play a game like D&D in a virtual environment. Like, of course, now we're in a virtual environment and we can play D&D, but not. Yeah, you won't have the same input, because we all have our imagination of the world that we're living in, and by adding it, we also add to other person's perspectives.
True. Yeah. So let's go to the next one. Did we handle this enough? Yeah, I think we did. Jake says, "Oh boy, only ever sat through one TPK, and the entire encounter lasted 2 rounds. So we were a party of level 7s, a Goliath fighter, a human ranger, a human cleric, me, and an Aasimar warlock. We'd been on a quest to sneak into an enemy territory to rescue our kidnapped Jarl, so we wound up in some underground passages inside a mountain. My cleric had been told her long-lost daughter was in these tunnels somewhere, so she was really on edge, hoping to be reunited. They came to this huge door and pushed it open, revealing the base of Yggdrasil, the World Tree, and with my cleric's Aasimar daughter nailed to it, sustaining it as it slowly dies with her half-divine nature. So my cleric starts running for her, absolutely devastated. Then this huge ancient red dragon appears, having been guarding the base of the tree, and immediately goes on the offensive. The fighter is incinerated in one move, the ranger and my cleric go unconscious, and the warlock Misty steps into the dragon's head. Dragon mashes the ranger into the ground with his foot, instant kill, whips the warlock off his head, warlock lands next to my cleric, and both get incinerated. The plan had been to kill us all off and then to do a sort of mini-campaign side quest with different characters, then return to our original ones. But the dungeon master never asked if we'd even be up for that, and as a result, the warlock and the ranger left the game, and it just ended there.
Wow.
It's a long one, but I thought it was really interesting. Because, sometimes you have great ideas, but they backfire immensely.
Yeah, I guess 2 of the players just didn't see it going anymore, or at least said, if I'm going to have died, then I want another character.
Well, I think the TPKs aren't fun. It really kills the mood for me. Says TKF Tom Getta. Welcome to the stream.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah.
And I can imagine that's like what I don't know if you heard everything, but that's what I've been saying earlier. I've never had it, but that's because I was warned by other people who experienced it, and I didn't think it was a good idea. So we have always these players who are still thinking about their own survival if a party is getting killed. So that it is never a total party kill, but more like 5 out of 6 or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens as well. I had one total party kill where the party had been discussing for like 2 or 3 weeks about how to handle a situation. They had to get into a city and free the slaves, so to say. And so after a long talk, making all these plans, they went in through the front gate, came to the square, and like a Gorton or maybe a mind flayer, I don't even know, asked them, "Oh, so what are you going to coming? Why are you here?" And the guy who was in the lead said, "Well, we're coming to free the slaves." Then my heart skipped a beat at that point, and he said like, "Oh, okay, well, let me get this other guy to so you can talk to him, you know." And all these players were watching me like, "Okay." Pretty happy, excited about what was happening. I said, okay. And then I said, well, there's another mind flayer coming to the square, and you suddenly see that these Kuoton are marching in, and they say, this might not be going that well. I said, well, you never know, right? And then it was a TPK. Because, man, why would you ever walk into a city and say we're coming to free the slaves, right? Yeah. That were in that city being captivated by the inhabitants of that city. So that was really strange.
Oh, man.
And that was the same as I addressed earlier, where Ralph was so sad about. And then I thought, man, this is a TPK. We've spent years and years on this adventure, and now it suddenly ends. And then I started thinking, but wait, they want to have the mages and the clerics alive because they need their divine magic, and the cleric as a magical intelligence sword. So he uses that to cut off the ears of the characters who do not have magic, and puts them in his pockets, and the others are all being dominated. But while they are leaving that space, he kills the guards and takes the bodies with them, and they teleport out, and stuff happens, and the intelligence sword breaks his domination, and they get to a point where they can start resurrecting all the other characters, and then they have the whole party back. The only thing is that they don't have their gear. Retry. Yeah, but it was a TPK, but the way we handled it was by doing stuff differently.
Yeah. No, but sometimes you need to have that out because it does feel like bad. But on the other hand, it's like if you're going to walk up in the police station and say, "Hey, sheriff, I'm an assassin and a thief, and I was thinking about just releasing all the prisoners from jail." How about that? Then you're not going to have like, "Well, follow me. Would you like some tea?"
It's like that, you know.
Idea.
And these are mind flayers and Kuoton and Ixan and every kind of underdark creature in an underdark city, which they had been traveling to for months and stuff. And I can still see those hopeful faces in front of me. I still have that vision about, first being kind of doing this behind my Dungeon Master screen, and then hearing this again. And then... And the funny thing is, but the greatest thing about this story is that was the city of the gospel, where they had to do this in the night below, and then they would finally they went to the end city, the Great Shabuav, where they were really going to stop everything, and they redeemed the character who made this mistake, because it wasn't his fault, of course. Not only his fault, because they were all quite looking bright-eyed at my head, but and they said, no, you can do it again. You can go into the city and do the talk. And I thought that was such a great thing for them to do, and he nailed it this time. Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, that was so awesome. Yeah, one of the most beautiful sessions and most crap in your pants sessions ever, but yeah, it was so scary, because then it wasn't just mind flayers, it was Abulev, it was giants, it was Dwergar, it was every kind of conceivable Underdark race and parties and stuff that they had to really get through to get into that city, and then it was so scary. So Michel says, well, I know a character that would totally do that. We just freed 41 goblin slaves. Yeah. There you go. And Esner says that's also very TPK on the meta level. Yeah, and I don't mind having a TPK on the meta level like this Dungeon Master tried to do. But either you really have to have the trust of your players. I don't know how long this Dungeon Master was with this party. Or you have to kind of prep them in a way for this to happen. Or just redo stuff. Because they just didn't like it. But somewhere a hard line was drawn, or they just didn't dig what he was trying to do. Because I can imagine that in the end it would have been a great adventure if they all had let him do what he was trying to do. Because I could do these kinds of things. I in a way have done these kinds of things, but there were kind of decision moments. And
I think that those are the things that you also learn by playing D&D longer, because like you in current, I think in current conditions, you and Ro, for example, but a lot of other DMs we know as well. If we had a plan, which would be better to not tell the players because it would reveal too much of the plan, but which would involve a total party kill for a time or something like that. It's so shocking that at least you have to, like, if there would be a situation where that happened and we would play with some other characters, are you okay with that, or are you going to leave the game, or like you of course you can do things, because from what I'm reading, it's like the other guy had something like, I will give them the idea that the characters are deaf, that, and then play the mini campaign, and then they get resurrected anyway, or it was all an illusion, but if it feels like actual death, then it could be like, okay, I've done this game, next game.
Yeah. So it reminds me that recently I did a Donker Rupsis in the chat, and I kind of erased his character from existence at the end of a session. And he didn't know that I was going to do that. So I did the same thing in a way. But then I left it at a cliffhanger, and I called him after that and said, we're going to play some stuff with this character, but I want to give you this other character, which might be temporary or for a long run, I don't know yet. Depends on what we are going to do. Are you okay with this? And I thought that he would be okay with this because he likes those kind of things in storytelling. And he was okay with it, so everything went well, but it's a scary thing to do. And the funny thing is that when we had the next session, one of the players said, hey, did Jasper really talk to you about this beforehand? And he said, no, he didn't. And they said, well, I wouldn't have liked that, So, yeah, you're totally right.
I think that's also getting to know your players and your DM, because I think that's with the DMs that I'm familiar with now, especially the ones like Roger that have been in decades of campaigning together. If there's anything happening and I have a problem with it or something, we have discussions. Like every player and DM have some discussions at times. But if Ro tells me to just shut up and trust him, then I can do that now. At first I couldn't, because I was like, but this is my character we're talking about, and now I know, like, if he tells me to shut up and just trust him, then I'm going to like the outcome, left or right, and that maybe it will take some time to get into the new vibe or whatever, but it will be worth the wait and the interactions. And with you, I think I would have the same. Like, if I would go into a discussion and you said I'm not really wanting to go into this discussion, just trust me, this is going to be cool, then I would be like, scary, but it's going to be cool, so it's going to be cool, you know.
Yeah.
But if it would be with a new DM that I do not know, then I also don't know if it's going to be cool, and I don't know if I'm going to spend 2 years of regular night meetings to do something that I'm not sure that I'm cool with.
Yeah, I can agree. Although I think that when I was in Roger's campaign, I was agitating somewhat sometimes, because I thought that sometimes the adventure went away that I didn't like that much as Jasper. But I think in-game Unfortas really had some aspects of Jasper in him, in a way. And I think it was where I was in my life as well, you know. Not really comfortable where I was and everything, and then and that kind of felt railroaded for me, and so I projected that on this campaign as well. And I sometimes got a bit angry, but I didn't really confront him with that or something. But in the end, everything came together again, and that isn't because we talked it over, but it's because in the end, I think I didn't like my own attitude towards that, towards his way of trying to tell a story, which is just different from mine. And in the end, it was a great story. So, what should I have done? And that has lasted through the last decade, I think, where I've been thinking about how should I cope with other kinds of dungeon master styles and player styles. And I have little experience with other dungeon master styles, but I think that what I really like to do is that I want to experience other dungeon masters just the way they try to be a dungeon master, and let things happen to me no matter what. Mm-hmm. But it will be okay then for me to leave once I get confirmed that it will not work for me or something. You know, like, you can approach it from the other side as well. Like, okay, let's just see if this let's have it happen, and then when it doesn't agree with me, I'll walk away.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I also think that like having played for a longer time makes you more like, normally the older you get, the less flexible you get, but in this sense it might be the other way around, because like my first character, I really wanted everything to be the way I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And I tried to force the world around me to fit my character. And in a way I also didn't, because the world was exciting. But like, if I see my play style now, sometimes I have these moments, even with my level 16 character, that somebody else throws something up, like, I would really see your character do that, and then my initial response is, no, that's not what my character is like. And then my secondary response is, But if he would be like that, wouldn't he just be cooler?
Yeah.
So why am I just? It's just because I had a prefixed thing about how it should be, but that doesn't mean that other things can also be fun. And like my imagination is not the coolest one ever. So
But I think it's the thing that you see on the internet as well, right? Because I think it goes for dungeon masters as well as players. Very rigid thinking about how stuff should be. And then when you see the experience coming with the years where a dungeon master says, okay, it's about having fun and stuff. And then it gets, I think better in a way across the times. And I'm a philosopher, so I think of Heraclitus a lot, which who says that you never step into the same stream twice, and it's never the same person who steps in the stream twice. And the road to the top is the same as the road down, which I really like. And once you start thinking in that kind of mindset, then you can see that you don't hold the truth in your hand, so to say, where you other people have their own truth. And
no, but I also remember that were just the example that I gave now, that you incorporate something which another person would feel that suit your character. I don't think that would have worked for me when I just started, because I was happy that I could play that one guy that exactly like I wanted him to react, and that was very satisfying for me at that point. And maybe later then like you said, experience.
So a lot of things are happening in chat. I have not. I will address them now. So Michel says, in answer still to the thing about going to free the slaves, I will always trust it. He said, just saying, because I can totally imagine level 3 characters thinking they can stop something that you as DM or player know will be impossible. Well, I think it was very possible, but they did it the wrong way. But I understand where you're coming from, and of course, yeah. Donker Rup says, in Jasper we trust. So that's the best compliment, I think. Nice. And then Misha says, I totally agree with all of that. I have had some conversation with Ro for the Precipice. I do have a counterpoint. Sometimes you have your character for a specific purpose, like exploring some issues you might have. In that case, you can't always trust the Dungeon Master unless he knows more about what you are trying to get out of the character. I will always trust the Dungeon Master to do something cool, epic or meaningful, but it might not be that specific thing I'm looking for. And Esner then says, Michel Kwok, that resonates well with some topics often discussed on TV. And then Michel says, to counter my own point, sometimes the Dungeon Master can throw something at you that does not line up with your plan, but might trigger or open up a new path to explore that thing from a viewpoint you never even thought about. And Esner then says, of course, and the Dungeon Master may figure out what the purpose of a character is for the player, but I guess even the best Dungeon Master is not always all-knowing. Well, I'm all-knowing.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not.
Fun, by the way.
Nice conversation, people, and yes to all of it. Yeah, I think that you can always have a conversation, but and I think that this, if you're actively using Dungeons and Dragons to do a specific thing, then you could, of course, bring it up. I'm not saying you're doing this, Michel, but you can always try to do it like, I want to explore this thing, and this is why I built this character this way, so do something with it, Dungeon Master. Or you can say, I have this thing that I want to explore, and I've built this character, and I do not know what you're going to do with Dungeon Master, but keep in mind that this is what I want out of my session, in a way. And sometimes you don't want to discuss this with anyone. That's true as well. So maybe, and I think that as I explore Bowen more, I've come to realize that I'm discovering things about myself that I didn't even think I would be discovering through this character as well. So there's that exploration stuff as well. It's such a big scope that you're a part of when you're playing Dungeons and Dragons or a role-playing game, and really invest in it in that way. But we have to continue our show for just a bit because
come on, Jasper, we have to.
Bob says, yes, my players went up against Tiamat in first edition. Came down to one player and Tiamat, both with very low hit points and out of spells, and there was a contrived reason that Tiamat couldn't just leave. Can't remember what it was now. The PC and Tiamat kept missing each other. Finally Tiamat hit the PC and killed him. That TPK taught me that TPKs are no fun for anyone, and to avoid them. All the fun got sucked out of the room and everyone left dejected. But this was in my the dice results are god period. Nowadays I would have fudged the saving throw or Tiamat's assay or something to give the PCs the win and avoid the TPK. I still don't fudge things otherwise, but to avoid the TPK, absolutely. Well, I think that I often arrange the answers in a certain way, so we are getting there. Through logical conversation, we come upon these topics, and this is so true as well.
Yeah.
Although I do not agree that you should avoid TPKs, but I can imagine that certain situations, and I think, who said it before? TKF Tom Getta said TPKs aren't fun, it really kills the mood for me. Yeah, so it can kill the mood. If you don't handle them well, then they kill the mood.
It's also like what we had with the puzzle. Like, first we all felt really stupid that we couldn't solve the puzzle with the potions at GaryCon, and
watch our GaryCon episode, people.
Yeah, and after that we talked, and then Roger also said, like, maybe I should have just arranged it a little bit different, because if all of you couldn't get to that conclusion, then maybe it was too much to ask in such a short time span. And I think that's it. Like, with a party, if you have a total party kill and you were really not expecting it, so you were really trying to play your character, trying to not get into a total party kill situation, and missed just one hint, and everybody missed it, and it was like brightest day, and that's where your whole adventure strands, then it sucks. And it shouldn't be like that. And it could happen, and it can also be a mistake, but then it might be a good idea to retcon it, or to search for an alternative mode to continue. But if, like, I would not like it if I would go with my party to a suicide mission, which we probably won't survive, even though we are the best at what we do, and then have it be easy breezy, or a boss at the end saying, like, oh, wait a minute, I should actually shoot my 2 volleys of arrows at you, but I just remembered that I still have something on the stove, so you just cast a healing spell, and like, that would make no sense. Then I would rather be killed. I'd rather be killed by the bad guy and have it be real than, I don't know. Like, if you gave it your all and it's still not enough, and it was just die, and like...
Yeah. So I'll show the next 2 answers. Spencer says, once one of the group was trying to be evil, and the end of the session tried to kill the cleric. He succeeded. Then the paladin grappled him, and they both fell down a chasm into spikes. It was super dramatic, and we all laughed. Then they went outside and boxed. It was a strange session. Which is a strange answer in its own way. And Keith says, it has happened a few times. Either my players make bad choices, rolls or luck. What they have done, it seems to take the sting away from the parties lost, is I try to make as entertaining as possible. Allow the players to describe how their death looked, or silly way they were killed, or even glorious death. Example, a group was all killed except one, a fighter. He wanted to go out in a blaze of glory, so when his death happened, he let me describe how it happened, and I made the final blow dramatic. The group was cheering him on and made the TPK exciting.
Good example.
As the counterpoint to the last one. both of them in a way, and it's never that easy to say yes or no TPKs. It's how you position them, what the expectations are, and stuff.
Yeah, although the first answer is one that does remind me of the golden rule. Like, always try to separate D&D and your private life a little bit, because we like, I've had some parties where people play evil characters and some other players cannot handle that well. You know, like you're constantly trying to sabotage the party, and what are you even doing here? But for me, it's nice. It's nice to have a character which is not okay in a group of people that are trying to be okay, and the interaction that comes from it is that makes my day in a way.
Yeah.
Like I can really find that exciting. But if you have a group with several persons who do not want that disbalance, who just want to achieve goals and do that without inner struggle in a way, then yeah, you should talk about it in advance, because I can, like, we've had that in sessions where players try to kill other players. We also had that with Stromhold a couple of times, and that's nice if you know that there are no consequences, and especially in Stromhold where everybody was dying all the time, it didn't feel like persons were trying to out their inner
I think, well, we explained Stromhold right now, right? Stromhold was the oh, that's not why you asked it. Sorry, I reacted to a chat for a bit, because Stromhold was one of my D&D sessions where you didn't expect your character to live, so to say. We played with 12 to 20 people at the same time for a whole day. Yeah, so it's expectations. That's what you're saying, right? And talking about stuff.
Like, if you and I have beef, then we should solve it in one way or another, and not solve it, play D&D together, and then do it in character in our game, and then get annoyed by each other, and then...
But is this how you read the boxing in this sentence, then?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought it was more like whoop, 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 whoop. Like silly boxing in a way.
That could also be.
It's just text, you know. But but if that really happens, it happened one time with two brothers on my table whose characters didn't align in alignment, and they almost broke. They went shouting at each other, and we stopped the session there. Because something was happening that wasn't part of the game anymore, and it was too real. So when stuff happens, you really have to take to consideration what you're doing, and you're playing a game. Although it's a game that's pretty serious for all of us in a way, it is a game, and you're just people.
You cannot be pissed at each other, because like there's been sessions where you prep for stuff and that it's really one character's thing, and that somebody else steals the glory or just ruins it, and that can happen. And when it happens, it's in game, so it happens. And I have sessions where I speak to someone afterwards and I say, I was really annoyed by that because I really wanted it to go like this, and then you talk it over, and then or the other player says, well, I had another vibe around it, that's why I did what I did, so sorry, but let's be cool. Or he says, yeah, maybe you're right, and I did take some of the spotlights where it was not mine, and I'll keep it in mind for next time.
Yeah. So I think I have talked about this in Talking For It previously, but since Donker Rups is in chat right now, I had this session where the rogue was really doing his rogue stuff, and he was so excited about how well he did it with 20 plus results on level 2 character and everything, and really sneaking and discovering stuff. And then the party went to Leroy Jenkins and burst in, and they had a party wipe nearly, and that wasn't fun. But the least fun was I saw his face just fall when this happened, because it was his moment and it got destroyed. That was the most devastating thing about that session, not the near TPK, but what it did to the character who had the spotlight at that moment. And I talked to some of the guys after that, what I thought was happening, and they said, "Ooh," like that, because they hadn't experienced it the same way, you know. But you have to really be careful of each other's moments and stuff. And Donker Rups also says, but not having the thrill of dying takes away so much. It makes you second guess everything you do. However, rolling really bad and because of that getting killed by an angry forest bear isn't really fulfilling either. Fudging the dice though, doesn't that devalue the entire basics of the game? Yeah. There's a balance there. Again, I think that's where we are going right now. There's a balance to it. It's a difficult balance to maintain.
But it depends on how you play. Like if you play, because it's mentioned so many times already tonight, if you play Stronghold, which is a power played game, which you need to build a character which is able to fight in some way and just overcome in some way. And you have a little bit of role play in the background, but actually you're just dungeoning it out and checking all the skills of the different characters. Then it's not so bad if your die fail, you know. Then it's like, okay, I'll build another character, see how that works, and then you don't feel committed. But if you're actually in a campaign, like what I said earlier, I want to die in a boss battle if it's fair, you know. If it's I've done all I can and I still lost, and the boss did everything he could and he still lost, then it's okay. Or he still wins, of course, but then it's okay. But if, like the example, if you're on the way to the last boss, and this actually happened almost one time to our party, we were going to kill some really high-ranking undead, and on the way in the dungeon, the first encounter we had, we fudged the dice and we almost got killed by a few saber-toothed tiger corpses, and those were like the start. They were the minions of the minions of the minions of the boss.
Yeah.
And we just threw bad and we almost got party wiped, and that felt really bad. And in the end, they were weak enough for us to prevail as well. But it really felt like, okay, if this is going to be the start, then maybe we shouldn't do this entire thing.
Yeah.
And the end boss we threw a little bit above average, and it went like a breeze.
Yeah. So let's go into the next answer. We have 2 answers left for those who want to see the end of the show. And this is, Jaco says, to make them value the characters and get them to make better decisions, the prospect of losing a character must be real. You know, I couldn't have said it better myself at this exact moment where Donker Raps gives us that answer and you give the answer to that question. So it is in there. You know, this doesn't say anything about if a TPK is necessary, but it says that the stakes must be real in some way, and that might be through impending TPKs or feeling like you could be killed or something. But it's a balance. But if you don't have that sense, then why are you doing scary things? And I must say that there is a kind of, because I saw those answers as well, where players got frustrated because they died. Because they said they were supposed to live at the end of the session. That's the other thing, you know. No, you're not supposed to live at the end of the session. You have to do good so that you can live at the end of the session.
Yeah.
Then so that's all other stuff. But I like this one sentence that makes stuff pretty clear.
That resonates with me a lot because what I was saying earlier, like I've never been into a TPK, but that's also because of characters, individuals' decisions to sometimes not be there when the party gets wiped. And like that feeling is real in all these sessions for me. So I've never played in a campaign where I thought I cannot die anyway. I have had, like, I know that I'm pretty important to the story, so I have some leeway, but still I should not make stupid decisions to kill a dragon by myself because I'm so powerful, or I cannot die because of story reasons, because then you die.
Then you die.
And it's over. And that makes sense. And I think that sometimes losing a character, like again the campaign where I'm a level 16 dwarven pirate guy, we've had lots of actual deaths in that campaign, and I think that there's only 2 other party members from the start of the campaigns, including like we've had other player characters actually in that party. So
Other
even
players.
That,
yeah.
and we have over 5 monuments of people that went to the grave, and they actually have a grave in that world, and that also makes for a nice, well, not nice is not the nice word, but it makes interesting campaign, because we are a group who lived through a lot together, and we have funeral tombs. Oh, you're gone, Jasper.
Yeah, I'm back.
You're
I'm back.
Jasper.
For me, you were gone, and then I was gone. So yeah, stuff happened. Yeah. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're good.
Great answer again. I heard it all, so that's great. So let's go to the last one. Do you remember that this time I started on kind of a serious note?
Yep.
Well, that means that I'm going to end on a serious note, right?
Yeah, probably.
Probably. So let's go to the last one.
Or not.
Or not. The last one. Here we go. Ari says, an NPC was a former hitman for the Zentarim. He had retired in previous years to live out his life with his wife. The wife had died recently due to an illness, but had sent a last gift to the NPC, a puppy. The party were resupplying at the store when they encountered the NPC. After a little back and forth banter, the party took offense at the NPC's behavior and decided to shadow him home. They killed the NPC's dog and thought they had taken the NPC out, but the NPC passed his death facing throws, saving throws probably, and got back 1 hit point after only 4 hours. After healing up, the NPC then went about killing every person on the party side, including the party itself. It was such a great campaign. They made it into a feature film. I've seen it as well.
I had it immediately with the dog. I know this story.
I like that it starts with the Zentarim.
yeah, exactly.
Which is a kind of a mob mage faction in the Forgotten Realms. Wait a minute, I know this story. Yeah, I think. Oh man, I just love that movie. All 3 of them. I loved all 3 of them. Yeah.
That's...
Didn't know I could like action movies that much, really. But yeah. But that's not really true.
Sometimes you don't need the story. Like in D&D, I always need the story, and it's very important to me. But sometimes your mind just needs quick thinking.
But you do get a sense of a bigger world, and that's great as well.
Yeah.
But you don't know why he is at the Russian well, you don't really know why he's where he is, but you know that it's important in a way because they all look like, oh, Baba Yaga. And then,
yeah, exactly.
Okay, he knows these people and they know him. Lovely answer. Yeah.
I don't even know the story, but there was this movie once called Shoot 'Em Up. It's one of the worst and best movies I ever saw.
Okay, going to watch that then.
Yeah, there's just one scene in it where you're like, okay, you have over the top and over the top, and they just topped that even.
Okay,
yep.
Shoot 'em up. Okay, I remember that. I think Michelle is trying to type something about John Wick now.
Yep.
John Wick shows an interesting thing. It starts, so maybe we'll wait for that. But yeah, it's a funny answer, but I like it. If you have a character indiscriminately killing people, we would not sympathize.
No.
No.
No, definitely. Like, I don't know if any campaign would indiscriminately. No.
And have those people kill his dog, and it's all fair game. Yeah, it's such a good introduction. Funny thing is, when I was watching it, I didn't think about how this was strange for Hollywood to do. I just thought, man, they killed his dog, the bastards. Then when I was starting to think about what this scene did for the movie world, I thought, man, that's really something,
No, it's quite big.
Yeah, it's quite big.
And it was really, the movies were awesome.
Yeah. I'm going to the last screen because we are running very late.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, no, it's good. So, next Talking Voids question is a viewer's choice. So, if there are any viewers left at this late hour, just post your question. Oh, man. Yeah, it's I think this is the longest show we've had thus far, Djinn.
Yeah, they leave it to philosophers
to
have a long show.
I think that's the problem. Yeah. Yeah. So do we have a viewer's choice, or do we have to post it on Discord? Because I can imagine that you're all a bit overwhelmed with all the talkie that we did during the show. Do you have an ID? Discord, yeah. I think we're going to do it on Discord. And if we don't have a best or hardest puzzle encounter, well, it's actually not such a bad one.
Topic.
I think we could do that actually, because then we would also get like a door,
Yeah.
Already feeling that one. Should we do that one?
I would say yes, because you just asked chat and we have a
nice reply.
It's actually a good subject.
It's a good subject. We'll be doing that one. Okay, thank you, Asner. Thank you so much. Yeah, I don't know if he said it jokingly, but it's really is a good one. Yeah. So, well, Djinn, did you enjoy the show?
Yeah, definitely. Had lots of laughs.
Yeah, we went quite deep as well at the same time. Both a joke and a good one, as Asner says. Well, chat, did you have a nice evening? I hope you did. I certainly did.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, pretty relaxed, man. Yeah. And I love chat as well. Some new faces. Hope to see them soonish again. We'll be looking at the
Lord Veteran.
The veteran subclass. Hope to see him again. And had a lot of fun. And thank you all for joining us. And with that, I'm going to prep the introduction, and we'll be going to the outro in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.